Football, love it or hate it, there's no denying it's the biggest sport in the UK, with over 40,000 clubs across the country. That's more football teams per square mile than anywhere else in the world. And more than 8 million people play it regularly. Whether it's an 11-a-side, 5-a-side or just a casual kickabout. But it's more than just a game. It's everywhere, on telly, in pubs, in playgrounds. Whole towns come alive on match days. It's shaped the culture of the country. And today I'm arriving in Newcastle, where I have set myself a little fun challenge to cycle to every Premier League club stadium during the 2024-25 season. That's 20 stadiums and just over 800 miles of pedalling. I will be wild camping and finding the lesser travelled paths along the way. So I'm starting here in Newcastle, stadium number 1, St James's Park, home to Newcastle Football Club, with a capacity of over 52,000. The club was founded in 1881, united since 1892, 132 years ago, and has won numerous trophies along the way, including 4 league titles, 6 FA Cups and 1 League Cup. They're nicknamed the Magpies. Ticking off the first club of this challenge, it was time to get out of the city and make my way to the next club. But Manchester is a little way off, so I'd be following the River Tyne out of Newcastle and making my way towards the North Pennines. I'd start by following the Derwent Walk, a route that follows the old railway line of the Derwent Valley Railway that carried industrial materials across the region.
Absolutely beautiful out here, and it's what better way to christen the new Sonder with a massive 800-mile-ish ride, visiting every single Premier League football stadium in the country for the 24-25 season at least. A few of them won't be in it for much longer because the season is nearly over, but starting a little late in the gorgeous sun though. So I'm going to try and find a way across to the, maybe like the North Pennines, towards the Yorkshire Dales, in that direction, somewhere to sleep tonight. I've gone super lightweight again, with the UK having a bit of a, we'll call it summer, because it will be. I've gone for the bivvy again, but I do also have the hammock, so if we find some trees, that'd be cool too. Look at these views! Beautiful.
It was a bit late of a start with the travel up to Newcastle. However, it was a perfect way to start along this old railway line. However, I was going in the wrong direction if I wanted it to be going downhill. But nevertheless, with it being such a beautiful day and plenty of places to stop and enjoy the views, I made sure to do just that.
On the border of the North Pennines, and oh my god, what an absolutely stunning day it has been. Just following this old railway line. The only downside is I'm going the wrong way because it is all uphill. 20 miles done so far, or just over 20 miles, like 23, something like that. So I'm going to do a few more because not only is it such a beautiful day, it does not get dark until after 9 o'clock. The sunset isn't till about 8:45, so happy days. But I'm going to head down to a place called Stanhope, maybe grab some food or some, like, to be honest, ice lollies. And then keep going until we find somewhere to camp, really. The next stadium we're going to get to, though, is a little way off. That's Manchester City Stadium, so that's where we're heading. But
Might be tomorrow, might be the day after. Probably be tomorrow at some point, but we'll see. Let's go downhill and try to find some ice lollies. Bloody boiling out here. I'm obviously not accustomed to the sun, and after just 20 miles or so of gradual uphill pedalling, I definitely could feel it in the legs today. And I could also tell I was getting ever closer to the North Pennines as the landscape was starting to feel much more rugged and remote.
Probably could just ride through it, it's not that deep, but you know, it's come to the end of the day. I don't want to get wet feet, but there's some lovely stepping stones, so let's risk it. One step, two step. That one is on a slant. Oh, there's so many. So tempted for a swim actually. Keep going. What's the bet in? I get to the last one and I just fall in. Nearly there, nearly there. Oh, look at the sun and all them flies. Success! Mission accomplished. The sun is starting to get a bit lower in the sky. No ice lollies though, just steep hills. Oh, it's a steep one. It's a kicker.
It's a pretty safe bet that when the hills get steep, you are entering the North Pennines, and that is what I was doing. And it was getting later in the evening, and it seemed like I was the only one around. Well, sort of.
I've got maybe 30 minutes until the sun sets. It's just over there, sitting behind that big hill. I've done 33 miles, so not bad for a little evening ride, but right now I'm sort of dealing with a climb and the evening just before sunset bugs are just attacking me, and there's just come down a descent and it literally, I just got bombarded. I think they're like moths or something. I was just basically like this. I'm gonna have to find somewhere to put the bivvy down soon though before it gets dark if I can. The only problem is I am kind of in the middle of kind of nowhere. So I might end up just like climbing up one of these hills, finding somewhere that isn't bog and just lay on the bivvy. It's not meant to rain tonight, so it's all good. But I tell you what, my legs, feeling it, you know, feeling it.
It really did feel like I had the world to myself tonight. I didn't see a single soul, just me and the fading light as the sun started to set. But finding a spot to sleep wasn't going to be quite as easy as I had hoped.
Look at that for a sky behind me tonight. Obviously this means I'm still looking for somewhere to camp, but that sky looks amazing. I am currently just literally basically in the middle of a boggy field. There are a few trees kind of that direction. I don't know how well you can see me, not very well. I'm not sure I'm going quite there, but probably just going to find like one of them walls, just camp by that if I can. I think there's a wall over there a little bit, but it is a bit hike-bikey. Oh, I wish I had an ice lolly. Perfect to watch this beautiful sky with an ice lolly. Alright, let's keep trundling on. I've actually ended up doing 44 miles so far today, so pretty good going. I just need to find somewhere to sleep tonight. I'll find somewhere. I'll keep going and eventually I'll find somewhere as always. Oh, what a lovely sunrise. Good morning. First proper day of the Premier League Stadium Challenge. I am just camped fully in the middle of like absolutely nowhere. I'm kind of between the Pennines and the Yorkshire Dales. I've got probably a bit of a hike to get off of where I am, and then I'll be crossing over into the Yorkshire Dales. But the real challenge I think on this trip is I've got to time everything, so I go through all the cities and stuff to get to the stadiums kind of early on, so I don't actually think I'm going to get to any stadiums today because they're probably about 100 miles away. So today's goal is to get as close to Manchester, probably not quite in Manchester, and then tomorrow I have a morning through all the cities. There'll definitely be some chaotic days, but today is the first day heading into the Yorkshire Dales, and that sunrise is bloody beautiful. It's a bit annoying though, because where I am in the middle of nowhere, it was actually not a bad little camp spot. Nice, peaceful, nice. It was a beautiful, peaceful night last night, so it's fine. But I stood up a minute ago, and just over there's a bunch of trees where I'm probably heading. So I could have even possibly got the hammock up. Who knows? First proper day though. Just going to the Yorkshire Dales. It's always a bit hard to get out of the warm sleeping bag, but it is going to be a hot day again, so happy days. So as you can see, this is what I was trying to follow last night. I think I'm going to be going kind of that direction. It's just finding a suitable place to walk. Okay, let's keep hiking. I think we'll go this way.
At some point during the night, I completely lost where the trail I'd been trying to follow actually went. It was mostly just narrow sheep track, so not exactly easy to stay on. But oh my, the sunrise this morning made it all the worth it. Waking up just in the middle of absolutely nowhere. absolutely incredible. I did eventually find my way back on track, though I did briefly consider booking an eye test to make sure I didn't lose any more trails on this trip.
I think today I'm not going to get sunburn. Still a little bit sunburnt from the VMX trip. With the sun, it looks like it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky currently, so I'm going to get lots of sun cream on and try and not burn for once. And then the next thing I need to do is go and find some water, because I've got no water and I'm a bit thirsty. It does look like there's a river or a stream or something down there though. Okay. Oh, beautiful morning. Look at it. Absolutely stunning out here. It's not often you get to see it like this. Better make the most of it.
I still had a long way to go to my next stadium, and plenty of hills ahead of me, and quite a few miles to the next shop. And out here there isn't much shelter in the moors, so when I first heard that stream of chilled Yorkshire water, I would definitely use this chance to fill up and enjoy some cold refreshment. Because from here I was heading uphill on these very old roads that were probably paved at some point in time, but now are just endless gravel tracks.
No beer for me today. I'm too dehydrated as it is. There's the highest pub in England, and if you haven't watched it, you should go and watch the video where I cycled from Bournemouth to there, the highest pub, and then after I went to the lowest pub. I put a card up there somewhere, but now it's downhill for breakfast.
After a morning of climbing, pedalling uphill, what a welcome break to hit these epic roads, the perfect roads for descending, wide open and good visibility. And it was all downhill from here to breakfast. Well, I say it was all downhill, but the amount of times I have ridden these roads, I for some reason always forget about one hill. Maybe my brain just doesn't record it because you know what? It's a steep one.
I forgot about this road before Hawes. Ice lollies for breakfast should just be a thing. So good, especially on a day like today. And I'm going to need it because heading up to the highest point on this ride, I think it's the highest point on this ride, maybe like the second, I'm not sure. But it's the old Roman road. Been up here many a time in wind, rain, sun, and today it's sun and a headwind, which is making things a bit harder. But once I get over this climb, the rest of the route down towards Manchester is in a downhill direction, so that's good. Uphill we go. Yeah, man. I've done 25 miles so far today. Let's just keep moving forward.
Cam High Road is a former Roman road and a medieval highway used by pack horse trains and stagecoaches between Ingleton and Hawes until the mid-18th century. It's a beautiful ride but gets pretty tough going in places. But when the sun is shining and the trail is dry, it's so worth it. And once I got past the rocky hiker bike section, the old road levels out and I was greeted to these epic views all around. This climb would also be the last real hill I would have to get over before leaving the Yorkshire Dales and making it closer to my second stadium.
It's getting hot now, it's getting hot. I'm at the point where I'm going to start leaving the Yorkshire Dales now as well, which does mean it's pretty flat, or just like nice and downhill and flowy. The steep hills are pretty much over. I've got like one more climb though, and then I'm officially out of the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. Although that climb, I think it's like up there. It looks really steep, so I'll probably be hiking. After leaving the Yorkshire Dales, which is in literally like 3 miles, I will be heading towards sort of Blackburn that way. So I've got to try and find somewhere between like Blackburn ideally and Manchester to camp. Around 33 miles until Blackburn, and then after that we'll be heading to actually tick off summer football stadiums. It's taken a day and a half to get anywhere close, but you know, but plenty of daylight to play around with, so just gonna keep moving forward. But I'm at that point where I gotta be a bit careful not to go too far, because I don't want to end up doing all the football stadiums through in the night. I want it to be daylight. I want to start nice and early in the morning and then get both of the Manchester, Everton, Liverpool tomorrow. That's the plan. But look at it out here. When does this ever happen? This hill just looks brutal. If it's the one I'm looking at, it just looks vertical. Let's go check it out. Oh, come on. Up, up, up. One last hill. Wow. Good news. It's not that hill up there, because that's really steep. It's just this one, which is just as steep, really. Last hill, last hill. Can't really be bothered to grind my way up this hill, and it's quite nice to just have a bit of shade. Meh. Once I get to the top of this hill, it's pretty much downhill, flowy towards Blackburn.
After that one final climb, it was time for me to say goodbye to the Dales. Leaving the steep hills and swapping them for grassy fields is a bit of a downgrade, but it was easier going, minus all the bloody gates.
I would ride, but I'm sure I'll just have to open another gate in a minute. But I found a little miniature Stonehenge and a big sign. I'm not sure what it says because it's backwards. Oh, it says 2024 obviously, and I think okay, plan is coming together. I've got around 15 miles until I get to Blackburn. Then from there, there's a bit of a climb between there and Manchester. Well, up and then descend towards Manchester. I was looking on Google Maps, Google Earth. It looks like there's lots of trees around there. It looks like there's a big like forest, big woods or something. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get in there. It looks like I can. It looks like there's a few bridleways that go around there. And could have a night in the hammock. If not, obviously got the bivvy as well, but night in the hammock could be cool. And then if I can do that, it means I'll be pretty much just descending in the morning to get Manchester City, Man United, Everton and Liverpool. 4 stadiums tomorrow potentially. I only have to do around 66 miles, which might be tedious and boring because might be a lot of, well, there'll be a lot of traffic, but it's quite a lot of canals and stuff, so hopefully I can find some quieter ways to link these stadiums together. But you know, should be able to get to 5 stadiums ticked off by tomorrow, hopefully. But 15 miles, it's about 6 p.m, so I've got a few hours left still. I just get Blackburn and then climb, and really fingers crossed I can get into this woods, even if it's on a slant, even if it's on a big slope, it doesn't really matter too much if I can use the hammock. Right, I'm in the wooded area. I haven't actually found the spot yet, but I've done, I think it was 88 miles, I think it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. The sunset behind me is so nice. Really, really nice. But I'm in a really quite nice wooded area. I think I'll be able to find somewhere to either bivvy or hammock. There is a few people walking around still, so I'm going to wait a little bit. But, you know, it's looking good. Tomorrow, finally will start ticking off a few stadiums. From Newcastle to here, that's definitely going to be the hardest, most elevation gain throughout this whole trip. The rest is going to be fairly flat. Maybe towards the end, around the South Downs, will be a bit hilly, but from now, it's generally a bit flat. But I'm going to go find somewhere to sleep for tonight because I'm ready for it. I'm ready to sleep. That sunset though, beautiful.
and good morning. Day 3 and a little bit. Oh, you might be wondering why there's a hammock over there and I'm not in it. Or maybe you're not, or maybe you don't care. But basically, I just couldn't sleep. I would doze off for a little bit and then just wake up. So I just gave up sleeping in the hammock. Just laid on the floor instead, and I slept much better. It's currently 5:30, and one little hill, and then we're going downhill into Manchester. I am so tired though today. I might sleep for like 20 more minutes or something. That's what I'm gonna do. 20 more minutes, and then we'll get going. Oh.
It's so beautiful, this woods. All the blue boughs are out. It's just so nice. Finally woken up. Let's get on to Manchester. Got a little bit of a climb, and then it is mostly downhill or flattish. Most of the day is quite flat, to be fair, which is good. If I want to get to Liverpool, which I do, I have to do around 60, probably about 65 miles, something like that. So hopefully I can do that. But I also got to do a bit more to make sure. How do I get out of here? To make sure I can find somewhere to camp. But from Liverpool I'll be heading down to like Wolves and Birmingham, so I've got to find somewhere in between there. But it's all very built up. That's going to be the real challenge on this trip, is the camping, I think. How can I get out of it? Okay, I'm going to find my way out of here, and then uphill and downhill. Today we got blue skies again. How long is this going to last? The whole trip, hopefully.
Today was the day. I had made it across the Pennines, across the Dales, and with another day with the sun shining, I would be making my way into the next city. I could see the Manchester skyline in the distance, and I would be descending down to the city where I'd be ticking off the next 2 stadiums. Found my way into the city following the canals and some park trails before heading through the streets, which seemed a lot quieter than expected. The first stadium I'd be visiting would be Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad Stadium, home to Manchester City. It holds just over 53,000 fans right now, but they're in the middle of expanding it to around 62,000, making it one of the biggest in the country. The club was originally founded in 1880 as St Mark's and became Manchester City in 1894. They have had a historic run in recent years, multiple league titles, FA Cups, League Cups, and even a Champions League Cup. 2 down, 18 to go.
There's Man City's ground. And just another 18 more to go. Off to Old Trafford now. And And Manchester is surprisingly very quiet. I like it, it's nice. Let's go.
Just 5 miles or so through Manchester, I made my way to my third stadium, Old Trafford, home to Manchester United and the biggest club stadium in the UK, with a capacity of over 74,000. And believe it or not, this stadium might not be around for much longer. There is talk about United building a brand new one to replace Old Trafford entirely. The club was founded back in 1878 as Newton Heath, before becoming Manchester United in 1902. They're one of the most successful clubs in world football. 20 league titles, 12 FA Cups, 6 League Cups and 3 Champions League trophies. But recently, things haven't been going so well. It's hard to believe for a club with this kind of history. As someone who doesn't really follow football nowadays, when putting this route together and checking the teams in the Prem, it was a shock to see them so low. 3 down, 17 to go. There's the third stadium. Next up, I think it's Liverpool or Everton. I think it's Everton first. But before we head over there, it's probably another, 30 odd miles. Time for a bit of a Ginster's lunch. So far today they're making good progress. Not quite as hot as well, so a little bit easier to manage. Only 17 more stadiums to go. The good thing about this part of the country is the abundance of canals. A great way of getting away from the traffic. And of course, they are nice and flat. So that's how I avoided most of the Manchester traffic. I would have to follow the busy, noisy roads into Liverpool though, but I'd be making good progress towards my fourth stadium.
Probably got about 10 miles now until I get to Liverpool. The headwind today, the headwind yesterday, actually the headwind since I've started is the thing that's knocking me out. It's making the legs work, but once I get to Liverpool and I get to turn around, or kind of turn around, head south, it should be at least not in my face. But I've done about 55 miles so far today. It's currently 1 PM, making good progress, and should be at Everton Stadium pretty soon. We're well on track for the 4 stadiums today. Well on track. Don't think we'll get a 5th though.
Everton. Goodison Park has been Everton's home since 1892 and was the first major football stadium ever built in England, with a capacity of just under 40,000. Although Everton will be leaving this stadium for their new home, Everton Stadium, in the 2025-26 season. It was really nice to see Goodison Park while it was still Everton's home. They were founding members of the Football League and have a proud history. 9 league titles, 5 FA Cups and a European Winners' Cup. That's 4 down and 16 to go. And the next stadium is just across Stanley Park, Anfield, Liverpool Football Club. Just a short ride later, I'd have made it to Anfield, home of Liverpool Football Club, with a capacity of just over 61,000. It's one of the most iconic stadiums in the world. Liverpool were founded in 1892 and have one of the most impressive trophy halls in English football. 20 league titles, 8 FA Cups, 10 League Cups and 6 European Cups. More than any other English club. And this season, they've done it again. Liverpool are the Premier League champions for the 2024-25 season.
And that is number 4 for the day. All 4 completed. Smashed it really today. Felt really good on the bike. It's been very flat today as well, so that's definitely helped, but I have had the headwind, and now that I'm turning around I've got the tailwind, which is so nice. But I am now heading down towards Wolves Stadium, but that's a little way off, so I don't think I'm going to get there today. However, everywhere in between Liverpool and there is kind of built up and not really that great, to be honest, so I don't know, we'll see. No idea. Just gonna keep going now that I've got a lovely tailwind, and today has been another beautiful day, and just 15 more stadiums to go. Just 15. Right, let's head towards Birmingham, somewhere in between. I've done 66 miles, probably try and do another 20 or 30 and then just try and find somewhere quiet between these places to bivvy for the night. Who knows, maybe this wind will just push me at 100 mile an hour and we'll make another stadium today. I don't think so, but who knows. But also, I don't really have to go into all like the busy side of Liverpool, because to get out I'm mostly following this old railway line, I think it is. Just a beautiful, slightly downhill cycle path.
I was pretty happy with that. 4 stadiums today and 5 in total, and just a small matter of 15 more to go. But since I had turned around from Liverpool, I was well in the mood to crack on and get the miles in, especially now that the wind was now pushing me along. Perfect.
I've currently done 95 miles, so I think it'd be rude not to hit the 100 mile mark, so I'm going to do another 5 minimum, and then I've got to really find somewhere to camp. But I'm heading kind of towards like Stoke-on-Trent, basically like following the canals and stuff. Oh, it's a dark tunnel, so I have no idea where I'm going to camp, but I've got about 60 miles until I get to Wolverhampton, so that's our next stadium in about 60 miles. So I'm just trying to get that down to as little as possible, so tomorrow we can get that and Aston Villa. But I did just check, and Aston Villa are actually playing tomorrow, so we might get there and it might be they might actually be playing so it might be very busy, but oh well. Alright, 5 more miles, then I'm forcing myself to find somewhere to camp. It's been a great day. It's only actually about 6:30, so I've still got quite a bit of time until sun sets, but I'm just not really anywhere where there is that many places to camp.
105 miles. Nice. Okay. 105 miles. That means there's about 55 to go until the next stadium. I'm kind of just along the canal. Found a nice little, wow, I think it's going to be nice. Just in here, just going to bivvy it just down here somewhere, either there, here, who knows. The world is my oyster. It's been an absolutely great day though. Cracked all the miles that I wanted to do, got all the stadiums that I wanted to do. Now tomorrow, to do the 50-ish miles to get to Wolverhampton Stadium, and then I need to get across to Aston Villa, and then I have to get out of Birmingham as well. So it's going to be another big day. But after getting out of Birmingham, I feel like it should be a little bit easier, at least for a couple more days with the camping, because the places are a little bit further apart. There's a bit more gaps in between, a bit more countryside in between the stadiums, at least until London, obviously. But
do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential for life that is thriving. Go deep,